Okay, on Prosharp's template list here, the pitch here is actually a dimension in millimeters here. What that is a dimension from the thickness here. It's the greatest bulge. So a lot of these have a minus 20 millimeters here. What that means is if you take this profile exaggerated, this curves out and goes back down. The greatest point is here, and it's generally in the heel region for some of these multi-radius templates. And that's so that when you're on the ice here, this would be the neutral point, if that makes any sense. It's a little bit behind the center of the blade. So if I zoom in down here, first I didn't know what this was. You've got the different quads. A lot of these are minus 20 until you get the very smallest ones. Same thing with the Zuperior up here, and then the new Ellipse down here are minus 20. So if I go back and look at a diagram here, zoom back some. Here's a blade. This is the center of a blade that's a step blade on here. If I put it on here like this, this is the heel region. It's got this, comes up like this, and this is the front. This hasn't been profiled yet. If I put a template on here like this minus 20, I've exaggerated just for clarity, showing what's going on. So the template is thicker and thicker, and then the greatest point where it's down is this minus 20 here. So a lot of these multi-radius templates here have a minus 20, what they call pitch, onto here. And at first I got confused about this because pitch on a unit, generally if you go look at, here's an older unit here, they have a gizmo here where you can define pitch in degrees. So you're basically taking the template here and you're rotating it slightly in an angle. And that's on an older machine. The newer machine's got the same thing where you're actually pitching the template back and forth. So down here, when the template is neutral here and you're first profiling a skate on here, the lowest point will be back here, and that's so when you're balancing on the skate, that's the lowest point. So if you take a skate here, like on this, instead of being in the center here, if that was the center, the lowest point after profiling would be here. And I think in one of their videos they show like if you're on a pipe here, where would you, where would the lowest point be on this? So the multi-radius ones have this point a lot of times at 20. So I've gone through in my templates here, I've gone through and just for clarity I went through and put a little circle here around this one here. This is a quad 0.5. This is a quad 0. And then if I go to some of the Zuperior ones, the older ones they had, this one's from probably 3 years ago, they didn't have this little etch mark on there, and I think they've all done that. I actually put these, I think there was a little mark on there, and I put that on myself. I actually measured the radius of curvature on here with the gauge. But the newer ones have got this slick little scale on there in millimeters, 10, 20, 30. And if you take some of the ones that are just a regular radius like this, that's a 7-foot radius, there is no pitch in the sense this is 0. So the center of the template is, there's no offset on there. And that's why, like on here, these single radius ones here, this whole column is blank. So the ones here, Zuperior has three radii here. This is the pitch. Here's the quads, and then this is the new Ellipse. So what this is really for, I think, is if you go through and then you reprofile a skate, you put the skate in the machine at a different point. And so I think that's originally when you profile you don't, but it's after you've got a skate profiled and you want to do it again. I believe what this is for. So here's an ellipse template. So an ellipse basically has a complete infinite number of radii. Or not, I mean, it's always changing. It's not just two fixed ones. And so I think there's two different ones here, but this is 20 millimeters on here. And then some of these, like here, this is for goalies. It's got a big, very large radius. And of course, in the Prosharp one, generally this is flat. That's what registers in the grooves. And then this is the curve it's through here. That guy there almost looks like it's flat. They make some for figure skating, for speed skates that have a really large radius. I want to say, if you go over here and you look at, they have a long machine. They've got some that has just got a huge radius, designed for speed skatings. So you've got 28 meter radius, that's 92 feet. Sorry about that. And here's one that's a Short Track Pro that's got 3 radiuses on there. It doesn't show any pitch bias on that. And then here's some older templates. This Detroit's been around for, I want to say, 10 years or so. 10 to 12, Win 1 and 2. So when you first profile one, you don't go through and bias the skate over, is what the other Prosharp video shows. And I think it's when you reprofile, then you set the skate up in the machine different. But this is the minimum. I went through and just, for sanity check, I took a pair of calipers and I went through and just measured where this maximum was, like through here. And the maximum is right where they say it is on here. So this is where the maximum occurs. So on a smaller skate here, this is a 212 holder, it's less farther back, because when you take a little bitty skate like this, is a size 2, let me zoom back, this is a size 2 skate, it's got a 221 runner here. So if you used a Quad XSS on it, on here, it's got a 15 millimeter bias. So after profiling, instead of being here, the pitch offset is back, in the sense that this will be the place that the distance is the farthest down, exaggerated. And it's smaller for a smaller skate because the skate isn't as long. So that's the whole, that's why these pitch biases here are low. Same thing with over here. So they have different templates, and they have a recommended holder size, but you can go ahead and use them in different sizes if you want to experiment. I know a lot of people have been doing that.